hands and praise to God and say, thank you, Jesus. Lord, I'm glad you didn't bless me. Amen, somebody. See, every time that you want a blessing ain't really ooh, that was a good blessing. I can preach that thing sometime. I ain't got time, but I got to get there. See, when it's God's plan. And God's plan is not contingent or conditioned on how we think, what we see, and how we feel. So look. This message for me. Because every now and again I get too concerned about what it looks like. But I'm going to show you why sometimes God puts you in an insurmountable kind of situation. So God said, the people, verse 2, that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves. Now watch this. It's one thing to get puffed up, but God says they'll get puffed up against. Did you see that? I looked at that and thought, man, that is powerful. Because God is saying, I don't want them. Listen, okay, practical application. I believe there's some truth to this right now in the United States of America.
Yes.
I believe we've been on top so long that we think we discovered.
Come on, brother.
I really do. I believe we've been on top so long that I think we discovered. Right now, with this thing that's going on over this debate about the Affordable Care Act, ain't no consideration for how we're going to benefit the people we're supposed to be serving.
Amen.
If you've been paying any attention at all, it's about Republicans against Democrats. It's about this one against that. It's about me winning. It's about me having the victory. And ain't nothing to do with the people that they've been sent there to serve. I'm telling you, for every time that we get to a place like that, God will allow. Oh, okay, you're not feeling it like that. The wise man would say it like this. The wise man says that righteousness exalteth a nation. Amen, somebody. See, living righteous, being righteous, and striving to be righteous, God said, I'll bless a righteous people. But what happens when the righteous are no longer righteous? What happens when the folk that are supposed to serve God like nobody's business cease to serve God? You better know that God will allow the people to be humble, amen, somebody. That God will allow them to... So God's plan is, I don't want them to realize victory and then they look and say, because you know what they would have said. 22,000 men in the army, even if they would have went in with that and realized victory, they would have been saying things like, oh, it was just 22,000 of us against all of them, and look what we did. When you go down to verse number 12 of memory search properly, you get some sense of how big the enemy was. Even with 22,000, that was still insurmountable odds when you consider how big the adversaries were. Well, God said, I'll fix that. I'm going to take them and move them down. So watch this. Every now and again when the church falls on hard times, every now and again when things look tough, every now and again when the number don't look like what it used to look like, every now and again when things begin to get hard. And so here's the thing that you got to be careful about. When things get tough, we have a tendency to begin to look at each other and start to blame us. Yes. Come on, now, think about what you're doing. Why would I strive to sink the boat that I'm in myself? If the boat goes down, so am I. That don't make good sense. Why do we do that when things get rough? Oh, it must be them. They must be doing something wrong. God says, you know what I'm going to let happen? I'm going to let it happen that the military is going to be of such insignificant number that they're going to know. Yes. So then here's what I want you to see. Here's the second point of this thing. Insurmountable odds.
Yes, sir.
Come on, brother Tim, preach. Yes.
You ever had a time in your life where you couldn't see? Because when you looked at that thing, you said, my God, it looks to me like.
Come on, brother Tim.
Touch your neighbor last time. When's the last time you took a look? When you looked at that thing, you looked at it and you said, it looks to me like if it keeps going like this. And here's the thing, because when folk do that, somebody will soon say, we got to do something. Let that marinate. Folk will soon say something like, wait, I got to do something, because if I don't do something. Okay, now let me show you how messed up that is. Let me show you how messed up that thing is. If you really sit down and talk to some drug dealers, if you really sit down and talk to some folk that are doing things they ought not be doing, one of the ways that they'll explain their behavior is say, you don't understand how bad it got. I was in Oakland at the Oakland Church of Christ. Matter of fact, we had a chance to take some of the youth, and I had an opportunity to speak to the young folk. And then they said, Brother Sims, our young people are dealing with some stuff that we want you to be able to take and talk to them aside about. So they gave me a room. And they said, all of you young folk that want to talk to Brother Sims in terms of what he addressed in this message on tonight, he's going to be in so-and-so room. So I got this little room. Couple of chairs, couple of tables, and I sat there. And I had alluded to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse number 33. Y'all know the Bible says that evil communication corrupt good more. Or manners in translation, I say. The point that I was making was you got to be careful about who you hang out with.
That's it.
Because the company that you keep can be a reflection of the things that happen in your life. And so I was trying to say to young folk, you don't want to be hanging out with the gangbangers and the drug dealers and the drive-by shooters, amen, somebody, because there's too likely an opportunity for you to suffer as a result of the company that you keep.
Yes.
So as I sat in this little room and the line began to form, one of the persons that was in the line was a young man that walked in and said, Brother Sims, I appreciate what you shared with us on tonight. You blessed me with what you said. And I prepared myself because I felt like, and there was, a blood coming. He said, you blessed me tonight with what you said. But what you don't understand is, when they were about to turn off our lights, when my single parent mother could not feed us like she wanted to, the drive-by shooters, the drug dealers, kept our lights on and situated us where we could eat that night. What's the point? The point is, given the right set of circumstance and opportunity, people can justify and doing what ain't right or righteous.
Amen.
Right. What you're going to say to the young man is telling you, rather than get that righteous and or legal job at McDonald's flipping burgers,
Yes, sir.
I can go stand on this corner and make more than hour or two than I will make in that week flipping burgers. I'm just talking real right
Yes,
now.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, you are.
You got to be able to help that young man see the insurmountable odds.
That's right.
Because the insurmountable odds is what has put him in that place.
Yes, sir.
Because he's looked at it and said, you don't understand without this except I do that. See, folks, you don't get it. We can justify doing dirt.
Yes, sir.
We can justify going wrong. Amen, somebody. Now, that don't mean that God want to let you get to a place that it gets rough. But we've got to hold on to God's unchanging hand. See, God's got a plan while you're in the midst of your mess. God had already set his plan, worked it out, and moved on to your next circumstance. But he gives you the opportunity to choose what you choose to do. What's the point? I need to get your attention because folk are dealing with some real stuff, some real issues, and some real things are going on in our lives, such that if you don't preach a sincere word and tell folk, listen, God told them what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your number from 22,000 and he moves them down to 300 and says, I'm sending you into what appears to be insurmountable odds. What am I saying? I'm saying to you that one thing that I got from this text is this. When God allows you to see insurmountable odds, oftentimes that's the only time we'll look to God when we find ourselves in a place where all you can do is throw up your hands to God. Oftentimes the only time we'll really look to God is a place and time when you can't figure it out, when you can't get it paid, when you can't buy